Sonic Mania is the latest 2D Sonic the Hedgehog game developed by Christian Whitehead, Headcanon, Pagoda West Games, and Sega of America. This game combines all of the best elements of Sonic 1 through 3 and Sonic CD to be a successful blend of old and new. Despite that, Sonic Mania isn't perfect and it needs some tweaks to be the best game that it could possibly be. Let's look into the 20 changes that Sonic Mania needs to be a better game. Super forms cannot be cancelled, so it punishes accidental activations or players who may want to save rings while in super form. Players should have the option to cancel their super form with the same button that they activated it with. If super form is cancelled and the player has 50 or more rings, it should have a 10-second cooldown before it can be activated again. Implementing a cancel button for super forms would give the player the option to save rings instead of waiting for the ring count to reach 0. The cooldown would balance this mechanic by making the player vulnerable to being damaged and losing rings, creating a risk for canceling super form. Characters that aren't Sonic lack the full range of abilities that would make Sonic Mania a truly fast-paced game. Even if they did have more abilities, there is also currently no custom button mapping feature to allow players to use those abilities as they see fit. Drop dashing and insta-shield should be default abilities for every character, leaving them with a total of 3 abilities including their unique ability. Sonic's unique ability should be his peel out to compensate for the other characters gaining 2 new abilities. Another welcome mechanic would be the one that allowed Tails, Knuckles, Mighty, and Ray to drop dash out of their unique abilities, like Tails' Hover, Knuckles' Guide, Ray's Glide, and Mighty's Hammer Drop. Since all of these new abilities would be added to the characters, the game would also need custom button mapping. Also, performing a spin dash in the air should be another way to activate a drop dash. These changes would increase the range of abilities that each character can have, giving them more overall speed and the gameplay more variety. For characters with gliding or hovering abilities, drop dashing out of their abilities makes the thing safer from below. And with the addition of custom button mapping, it would ultimately provide the players with more of a choice for how they play the game. The current shield mechanics slightly limit those choices though. So far, only Sonic can use shield abilities, while other characters cannot. Even then, having a shield can prevent drop dashing. For instance, an electric shield replaces the drop dashing with an extra jump. All characters should be able to use shield abilities, then different button commands should be assigned for those abilities, similar to how super transformations were eventually mapped to a different button. The most fun change for shield mechanics would be to allow players to use character abilities such as drop dashing along with shield abilities. The result would be a faster paced game due to all of the new potential movement tech. For instance, drop dashing from a bubble shield bounce or a fire shield air dash would make movement really cool and efficient. But unfortunately in co-op Mania mode, player 2 can't currently break monitors, and that means that they can't make use of the suggested new shield mechanics. So player 2 should be able to break all kinds of monitors, including shield monitors, and be able to use shield abilities. To distinguish monitors and not scatter even more all over the stage, player 2's monitor should be in the exact same spot as player 1's monitor. Player 2's should be lighter and transparent if player 1 breaks it first, and the broken monitor scrap should be lighter and transparent if player 1 does it first. The lightness and transparency would indicate that the monitor has been broken by one player but can now be broken by the other, and if player 2 is allowed to have a shield, it shouldn't disappear after falling behind, but only after taking actual damage. The change in the monitor mechanics would allow player 2's actions to matter more in-game. Player 2 would also have access to more abilities and be able to contribute in interesting ways, such as taking hits for player 1. Allowing player 2 to break monitors would also prevent them from getting stuck behind monitors while player 1 zooms ahead. Speaking of co-op, Tails and Knuckles are the only characters available as in-game partners in Mania mode. Plus, Sonic and Tails is the only character combination who can interact with each other in co-op. Knuckles is only allowed as a co-op partner with the and Knuckles option in no save mode, and even then, he still can't grab onto Tails while hovering. Sonic, Knuckles, Mighty, and Ray should be partner options to other characters in regular Mania mode as well. Knuckles and Ray should serve as hang gliders when using their abilities while partnered up with another character. Sonic's drop dash and Mighty's hammer drop should cause another player to ricochet once on a wall while they are jumping or charging a spin dash. Creating more potential teams and more combination abilities would make team dynamics stronger in co-op Mania mode, ultimately making the experience more fun. Though, not everything about combination abilities is quite working as it should yet. For now, characters aren't able to jump out of the hover animation when they hold onto Tails, nor can Tails choose when to drop them. Tails also cannot carry partners underwater and instead sinks almost right away. And although Tails' hover ability increases in speed when he's descending, Knuckles severely loses momentum throughout the entire glide, making him unfit to be the hang glider that he is meant to be. Though the only way for Knuckles to accelerate while gliding is to repeatedly move back and forth. Characters should be able to jump out of the hover animation, and Tails should be able to choose when to drop them by pressing the same buttons you would use for a spin dash. Tails should also be able to carry partners underwater. As for Knuckles, his gliding ability should either keep momentum or increase speed as he descends, like how Tails' hover functions. This solution would allow both players to have more freedom of choice when moving about. The change to his underwater hover makes more sense since things weigh less when they're underwater. The update to Knuckles' gliding would also balance each character in terms of speed, since Knuckles is essentially the slowest character if you take abilities and the time attack leaderboard rankings into account. But when players want to make their gameplay less team-based, competition mode has uncomfortably stretched out split screen with no option to change the resolution. And despite competition mode and Mania mode allowing 2-player gameplay, competition mode is the only mode with split screen. Players should have the option to change the screen resolution rather than forcing it to stretch. 2-player Mania mode should have a split screen option so that both players can choose to move around the map independently or together. If player 2 strays too far or if player 1 triggers an event, then player 2 should be able to use the time attack teleport mechanic. Player 2 should only be able to move a limited distance away from player 1 and should get teleported for being too far from player 1. The split screen fix would make competition mode more visually appealing. The change to Co-op Mania mode would prevent player 2 from constantly getting lost off screen. It would also make player 2's actual gameplay time and experience closer to that of player 1's. Once you complete the game on every available save slot, get all of the Chaos Emeralds for each character, and get all of the medals, you'll surely feel accomplished, but some of its replay value may decrease. To prolong the game's life, there should be more medals for completing the Mania versions of the Blue Spears minigame since it currently has no reward system. The original Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 special stages, as well as the Sonic Mania UFO special stage types, should make a comeback and be available to play in the Extras menu. And Time Attack mode should also include ghosts and a boss run mode of online leaderboards. The new medals will provide an incentive to beat the existing Mania Blue Spear minigames along with the other suggested special stage types. And adding a boss run mode and ghost to Time Attack mode would also provide more offline fun or online competition for players aside from racing in the regular Time Attack mode. If there was any boss fight that was disappointing in this game, it would definitely be Metal Sonic's fight. The first chase phase of the Metal Sonic boss fight misses the opportunity to create a real sense of danger like the Sonic CD version does of Eggman's chasing you with a laser. As it currently is in Sonic Mania, the fight seems to be less about racing and more about just transitioning, getting to the next phase. To improve this boss fight, Eggman should be chasing the player with a laser, but crash at the end instead of destroying Metal Sonic like he does in Sonic CD. This way, Metal Sonic can continue the fight through the other phases. Sonic CD's version has spikes, which should be included, but to intensify the chase, enemies such as the Pillbug Dongos or even the Silver Sonics that appear in the second phase should be obstacles in the chase. These first phase tweaks would give the players a greater sense of danger, momentum, and hopefully fun for this particular boss fight. The second phase of the Metal Sonic boss fight has him using little Silver Sonic minions to fight in his stead, creating a stationary boss fight that primarily focuses on timing rolls. It's also nearly impossible to beat while in super form because the Silver Sonic minions ricochet with too much power and end up missing Metal Sonic. Since the game already combines elements of Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic CD, the second phase should mimic that of the Mecha Sonic fight from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But if the devs were to keep this phase basically the same, they should at least adjust the angles at which Silver Sonics ricochet for super characters. These second phase tweaks would make the boss fight more engaging, and rather than having Metal Sonic sit on the background and having you wait for the right moment to spin dash, the ricochet angle adjustment will make this phase of the boss fight less annoying to beat while in super form instead of having to wait for it to run out. A user named Master Emerald from the Sonic Retro boards pointed out that in the final phase of the Metal Sonic fight, the rotating 3D Eggman-shaped building in the background has a graphical glitch at 3/4 view. The eyes disappear partially, and generally, the final phase of the Metal Sonic boss fight is not incredibly interesting, and it's easy to abuse the spike wall for invincibility frames to collect both rings and hit Metal Sonic. The 3D model should be fixed so that the eyes don't mess up at certain angles, and the third phase should be changed or removed completely. Changing the eyes in the 3D model would improve the visuals if even just slightly. Changing or removing this phase of the fight prevents cheesing the boss as easily as you currently can. Spoiler warning for Sonic Mania Plus boss content. Skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled. Note that this boss has been changed in a leaked and removed update for UK PS4 owners. The last phase is now a giant metal Sonic called Metal Sonic Kai, which will come with Sonic Mania Plus. If you've beaten the game already and want to start over or play no save mode, you still have to watch the zone transitions and boss transitions. Zone transitions and boss transitions should be skippable. Adding a skip feature makes things faster and more enjoyable for veteran players. Though in the beginning animation for Green Hill Zone Act 1, if you play with Sonic, he just calmly observes the hard-boiled heavies and Phantom Ruby's power, in this same sequence, Tails has an extremely jittery animation. For both characters, a tweaked version of the animation that plays when they get hit would be appropriate for this sequence. Jumping back in shock is a fitting reaction to experiencing the power of the Phantom Ruby for the first time. Some other odd animations involve Super Sonic. Some of his animations lose his spiky long hair and appear more like base form Sonic after interacting with elements of the stage or with another character. It's not the biggest issue in the world, but we would still suggest changing these animations so that the hair is long and spiky throughout an entire Super transformation. Even little things like this keep the game looking clean and consistent. Some of the animations that we wish we had are stuck in the source code. In it is an unused animation of Sonic jumping off the screen after idling too long. This was in reference to Sonic CD, in which Sonic would jump off screen and say, "I'm out of here," if a player idled for a total of 3 minutes. All playable characters should be able to jump off screen if they idle for 3 minutes or are standing still on the 10th minute instead of having the usual death animation. If a player is in motion, have them skid to stop and then jump off. If a player is in the air, let them plop to the ground in defeat. If a player is interacting with a stage mechanic, use the regular death animation. If a player is in super form, revert to base form and then proceed with one of the previously mentioned animations. These would make the death animations more exciting and, in turn, make timeouts more tolerable. The camera may lock in the wrong place when exploring in debug mode and mess up the flow of the game. Allow camera movement with the right analog stick while in debug mode. This would help the game flow more smoothly while using debug mode. When a player chooses a character first and sets the secrets that they want to have for no save mode, upon confirming, the character you choose isn't saved as it resets to the default Sonic and Tails option. The character you choose should be saved between menus. This would make menu navigation quicker and more convenient. In Lava Reef Zone, the long-necked pink Rexon has no Hurtbox on his neck, but has a Hitbox on it. In the Metallic Madness Zone, the Matryoshka bombs have no Hurtbox and are all Hitbox. Not even super characters can break them. For Rexon, just add a Hurtbox on its neck since it can already hurt you with its neck. As for the Matryoshka bombs, they should be able to be defeated. With these changes, these particular enemies become fairer to fight. Mirage Saloon Act 1 is the only zone in which debug mode can trigger a boss fight. However, spamming the placement for it crashes the game. Placing around 100 or so will make it crash. Boss spawns for most zones should be allowed in debug mode, but only one at a time. It would be fun, but also it would make the game flow more smoothly while using debug mode. If you use your super animation just before you drown, it cancels drowning, but also reverts you back to base form. It also stops the music until you restart, die, or finish the zone, and it enables you to move your character while on the pause screen. However, getting another shield brings the music back, except it's the super form music. It also ends the pause screen movement glitch. Super form should last to successfully cancel drowning, which might prevent the glitch in the first place. This would really help if someone happens to get 50 rings at the last second as an alternative to surfacing, grabbing a bubble shield, being in an air bubble, or breathing an air bubble. It would also allow the game to flow normally without any weird glitching going on. These are the suggestions that we have now, but if you have any more suggestions, tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to our content, and let us know what you want to see from us next. For now, we'll see you guys later.